Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to try and boil down Bill Bryson's epic journey through time and space. We're going to explore how we know what we know about, well, just about everything.
And let's kick things off with this quote from biologist J.B.S. Haldane, because it really just sets the stage perfectly for what we're about to get into. A story of mind-bending science, of just incredible, ridiculous luck, and the absolute weirdness of our own existence.
So here it is, the biggest question of all. How did we get from an absolute nothingness to, well, you, sitting there right now? The journey is a story of impossible odds. So let's just dive right in.
Okay, our story starts at the very, very beginning. We're zooming all the way out to the birth of the cosmos itself.
So try to wrap your head around this. Before the Big Bang, there wasn't a before. No space, no time, just everything. Everything that would ever exist, every star, every planet, you, me, all of it squished into a single point so small it literally had no size, a singularity. And then, in an instance, it all expanded. Now, this is the part that gets everybody. It wasn't an explosion in space. It was an expansion of space itself. Think about it like a loaf of raisin bread rising in the oven. The raisins aren't flying through the dough. The dough itself is expanding, carrying the raisins along with it. That's our universe.
So how on earth did we confirm this crazy theory? Well, the story is just fantastic. You've got two astronomers, Penzias and Wilson, and they're just trying to get rid of this annoying static, this persistent hiss in their giant radio telescope. They tried everything. They even cleaned out pigeon droppings, thinking that was the problem, but the sound wouldn't go away. Turns out, they had accidentally found the echo of creation itself.
That little hiss was the afterglow of the Big Bang, connecting them and us to a universe that contains an estimated 400 billion galaxies. It's a number so big, our brains really just can't process it. So to try and put that number in perspective, let's use this great analogy from the book. Imagine if every single one of those 400 billion galaxies was just the size of a single pea. You would have enough peas to fill a giant sports arena, like the old Boston Garden, completely to the roof. That's the sheer scale we're talking about. Okay, so from that mind-boggling vastness, let's zoom way in, all the way to our cosmic neighborhood, to this incredibly restless and unlikely rock we call home. You know, for the longest time, our best idea for how mountains formed was the baked apple theory. Seriously, the idea was that the Earth cooled down and its skin just wrinkled. But the truth? Oh, it is so much cooler. Our planet's surface is actually a giant jigsaw puzzle of massive plates that are always shifting, crashing, and grinding against each other. And this isn't some ancient history. It's happening right now as you listen to this. The ground beneath you is moving. Europe and North America are drifting apart at about the same speed that your fingernails grow. It's super slow, yeah, but it's this relentless motion that builds mountains and causes earthquakes. And here's the really wild part. Despite living here our whole lives, the inside of our own planet is one of the biggest mysteries there is. We actually know more about the deep interior of the sun, which is 93 million miles away, than we do about what's deep beneath our own feet.
All right, so we've got a universe, we've got a planet, but how in the world did life get started? And against all odds, how did it manage to hang on?
To really get a sense of just how new we are to this planet, try this thought experiment from the book. Stretch your arms out as wide as they'll go. Imagine that span, from fingertip to fingertip, represents the entire history of Earth. Now, how much of that is human history? Everything we've ever done, every war, every king, every invention, can be erased with just a single, light swipe of a nail file across the very tip of one of your fingers. That's it. That's us.
It's a pretty sobering thought. When you look at the big picture, the story of life isn't really one of survival at all. It's a story of extinction. I mean, look at that number. 99.99% of all species that have ever lived on this planet are gone. Extinction isn't the exception, it is the rule. And weirdly, it's what clears the way for new life to evolve.
So, who figured all this stuff out? Well, let's zoom in on the people themselves, the brilliant, the flawed, and the sometimes downright bizarre human minds that managed to piece this whole incredible story together. Yeah, the scientists who uncovered these secrets were often a bit eccentric. Take Sir Isaac Newton.
absolute undeniable genius, gave us gravity, calculus, the whole shebang. He also, at one point, shoved a long needle into his own eye socket, between his eyeball and the bone, just to see what would happen. He also stared at the sun for as long as he could stand it, for science.
And then there was Henry Cavendish, another brilliant mind. This is the guy who discovered hydrogen and figured out how to weigh the entire planet. But he was so painfully shy that his housekeeper had to communicate with him by writing letters. He once fled his own home just to avoid being complimented. And so, that brings us all the way back. Back to us, right here, right now, armed with all of this incredible and, frankly, kind of terrifying knowledge about our improbable journey.
And this right here perfectly captures the great paradox of being human. In the exact same decade that Isaac Newton was publishing his masterpiece, Unlocking the Secrets of the Cosmos, humans were busy pounding the very last dodo into extinction for basically no reason at all. We are capable of this divine genius and, at the same time, this thoughtless destruction.
And let's put some numbers to that destruction. Over Earth's long history, the natural background rate of extinction is about one species disappearing every 4 years. But today, some estimates put the human-caused rate at 120,000 times that. That's the difference you're seeing on this chart. It's so huge, it's almost meaningless.
Which leaves us with this final, really provocative question to think about. After this long, improbable, nearly 14 billion year journey from a single point to a thinking being that can actually understand that journey, what are we? Are we the universe's greatest achievement? Or are we its worst nightmare?